Who knew?
Traveling in Kentucky could be so much fun.
Hosted by Mary Engel and Justin Deaton.
Who knew we were going to do Walking Dead tips tonight? With me is George Engel.
Hello, guys.
And I'm Mary Engel. And we're going to tell you about our Walking Dead adventure, which was really a big adventure for us, wasn't it?
Oh, yes.
We have so much to tell you and so little time to tell you about our experience with The Walking Dead. So if you're a fan of The Walking Dead show, then you'll want to stay tuned and listen to everything we have to tell you so that you can experience The Walking Dead to its fullest. Have you ever thought about, did you even think that we would ever end up down in Georgia?
No.
Running around looking for filming locations and possibly hoping that we would get to meet one of the actors or actresses or one of the cast members of The Walking Dead.
The biggest waste of time in my book, I thought, here we go. She's got us on another adventure that's going to be driving around, wasting gas, wasting time. No way this is going to be any fun. But one of the reasons I'm sitting here tonight is, of all the things we've done, probably the most exciting thing we've ever done. I mean, when you drive up to these places and get out and see where the scenes were actually shot and stand right there where they're at, I mean, it's amazing. Words can't describe it.
Yeah, we really have had a good time doing the Walking Dead scavenger hunt, we call it, and trying to find all the hidden jewels. So if you're into The Walking Dead like we are, this is what you want to do. So let me tell you how it all came about. We started, I found a site on the internet that was talking about this little town called Sonoy. And it was telling about Walking Dead and some of the filming that was going on there on location. And they had it really hyped up, and I thought, what is all this hype about? We knew nothing, absolutely nothing about Sonoy. And if, like a lot of you out there, or like us, we knew nothing. Now, there are a lot of people out there that are as huge a Walking Dead fans as we are, and they know probably more than me and George know. We'll give them that. So, anyway, we book a place at one of the bed and breakfasts. They actually have two bed and breakfasts located right in Sonoy. One of them is the Veranda Inn. Very nicely appointed bed and breakfast. Food is awesome. The owners are great. They actually give you some inside tips while you're there. If they know of any filming locations or filming that's going on while you're staying in Sonoy, that kind of give you inside tips. Lori Holder, known as Andrea on The Walking Dead, has actually stayed there, and I believe it was room 8. And then Chandler Riggs, which is Carl, he and his father have stayed there. And the last time we went, that's where we stayed, was in the room that they slept in. So, anyway, you have a couple of actors and actresses that have stayed there at the Veranda Inn. Now, the other one is the Culpeper House. And that one, the owner is Sam, and he is a righteous dude in himself.
The Culpeper House. That's my favorite. Sam is a crazy guy. Likes to have fun. He jokes around. He makes your stay there very comfortable, and he makes you feel very good.
And one of the things about Sam, which we found very interesting, was he actually worked in Hollywood for many years.
Oh yeah, he's worked with some of the biggest.
Yeah, Al
Pacino. Robert De Niro.
Yeah, The Godfather. He actually helped produce the movie The Godfather, so he can tell you all about his history when you meet up with him. But one of the reasons that we kind of favored the Culpeper House, not because of the owners, because the owners in both places were awesome, but The Culpeper House is directly across from the entrance of the town of Alexandria.
Where they're showing right now, the gate they open, going in and out, is Culpeper House is right there. You can see that street. It's right there.
And we'll get back to the Culpeper House and what we actually was able to view and see there, and share a little bit of that inside information with you. But getting back to our story about what happened. So we were at the Veranda Inn and we met up with a couple, Oscar and Casey. And they were just as big of Walking Dead fans as we were. I mean, they were diehard fans as well. And we sat up half the night talking about The Walking Dead and scenes in The Walking Dead. And they had actually been to Sonoy before, so they had a lot of inside information for us where we didn't. And one of the questions Oscar asked was, guys, have you ever met any of the cast or crew members? And I said, no, we've never met any. And he said, well, that's my goal for tomorrow. And I thought, awesome. That would be the highlight of my whole vacation if I could meet just one, just one of the cast members. So that was his major priority for the next day, he said. Well, when we got up, we hit it hard and fast that morning, and we went out and scouted around, and they have an area in Alexandria set up where all the cast trailers and cast and crew members trailers are at. And at that time, they didn't have this fenced in. They do now, but they didn't at that time. And you could see actors coming and going, and crew members. And we happened to see Lenny James. And Oscar was able to get him to come over and visit with us a little bit. So he got out, he signed autographs, he took pictures with all of the fans that were standing there. So Oscar lived up to his promise. And tell him a little bit more about Oscar Rodriguez, by the way, and he is on my Facebook page. You can find him.
Yeah, like you said, Mary met him and his wife while they was on that trip. And come to find out, I mean, this guy is amazing. He loves The Walking Dead. He knows everyone on the set. He knows every place they've shot. He's one of them. He goes out there and he has been there ever since it started. And not only that, but a little bit more about him is, I mean, and they all know him personally. I mean, he has pictures with every one of them. I mean, personal pictures. I mean, high-fiving. I mean, they know him. Like when she met Lenny James, I mean, he waved at him and yelled. I mean, he knew Oscar. But not only that, Oscar's worked so hard and been so dedicated, and he's an artist. So now, Oscar actually goes around to the Walker Stalker cons, and he has his own line of art, and he is amazing. She's got, I'm pretty sure she has his website that she can give you guys later to get on there and look at. I mean, you would be amazed. I mean,
we also own his art. We purchased some of his art.
Yes, I mean, this guy is an amazing guy. If you never get hooked up with this guy, listen, he knows no stranger. They are very nice people, and they know what they're talking about.
Yeah, they're from Michigan, and they were just gracious hosts. They showed us around, taught us the tips and tricks of the trade, I guess as you call it. And that's how we actually got started. Well,
thanks for getting us addicted, guys. Appreciate it.
So I came home. I told George all about this story, and he was just blown away. He was like, "Really?" And then when I showed him the picture of Lenny James, it blew his mind.
Couldn't believe it.
Yeah, he was like, "Oh man, really? I can't believe you met Lenny James, Morgan, A.K. Morgan." I said,
And
"Yes."
of course, I missed out again.
So we decided to take another trip down. But while we were with Oscar and Casey, they took us around and showed us the areas or the filming locations around and about Sonoy. And we learned a whole lot. So when I was able to go back with George, I was actually able to give him a lot of the details, and he just fell right into line there, and we just had a blast. I mean, really, we did. So we decided to go back and enjoy the town of Sonoy ourselves. So George and I and Amber Engel went back to the little town of Sonoy. And I didn't tell them everything because I wanted them to have some surprise elements when they got there. I wanted them to be able to see it and enjoy it. And of course, George is very inquisitive. He constantly was asking questions as we were going to Sonoy.
I don't like surprises. I mean,
He wants to know, and that the inquiring minds want to know, and that's all right. So anyway, when we got to Sonoy, we pulled in and we parked and we got out, and this nice, quiet little town. It's a beautiful little town. The people are friendly in the town, and on the sidewalks, I think one of the first things you noticed was they have markers like they do on Hollywood Boulevard. And these markers have names of movies that were on there. So of course, we wanted to know, myself included. And it had like Footloose,
Driving Miss Daisy,
Fried Green Tomatoes,
Drop Dead Divas,
Drop Dead Divas. All in all, I think there's 19.
Fried Green Tomatoes.
Yeah, there's like, what, 19 or 21. Okay, and all of these movies have been made in Sonoy. They have a studio there, it's called Raleigh Studio, which happens to be the home of the Walking Dead filmmakers. I mean, that's who does it. So it's pretty neat because you can actually drive up to the gates. You can't get in at Raleigh Studios. I mean, there's a certain point where they don't want to let you pass. The other thing is the prison is a set within Raleigh Studios, so you can't get to it either. You can't get to see the prison. It is fenced in, so don't climb the fence. Don't try to go in, because I understand if you do, the most likely you will be prosecuted. So don't. I mean, try to stay within the guidelines that they have set up. They have do not trespassing signs, and try to abide by them, because if you don't, it does make it hard for anybody else who wants to go like we do and see some of the filming locations. And some of the people and some of the places that they've actually done filming, people invite you in, especially if it's like a local business, and they'll tell you all about it, and they're happy to share their experience with you about The Walking Dead. So, just be courteous. Don't do crazy things like climbing trees and try to look down into the cast and crew trailer setup. And just remember that if you own that piece of property, or if you wouldn't want somebody being destructive to your property. So just remember that, guys, when you're out there. Make it good for all of us so that all of us can go back. They've gotten really strict in the last year or so because they've had so many problems in the past. So just try to abide by their rules. I mean, we met a lot of the guards, didn't we?
Mm-hmm.
As we were in different areas in different towns, and we were down there a couple of times when they were actually filming, which was really nice, and they were all very nice. The guards are awesome, and they're great people to work with. If you get too close, they'll ask you to step back. Most of them will talk to you, will tell you where you can go, what you can do, what you can take pictures of, what you can film. So remember, they're your friend, and they have a job to do. So just be nice to them, and they're nice to you. I mean, we've never had any problems, and we've been down there how many times? 4 or 5 times, right?
Well, yeah.
So just remember, be nice to them, okay? Now, tell them what you thought when we first went into Sonoy.
We drove through Sonoy, little town, drove through it, down the hill, stopped, went through the stop sign, just on the other side, stopped, and she said, okay, let's get out. Me and her and Amber, we got out, and we started walking back, and I'm thinking, this looks familiar. And when we got there and started up the hill, sure enough, I was like, this is Woodbury. I mean, there we was, functioning town. I mean, stores, cafes, restaurants. I mean, the whole 9 yards. Not only that, but the Walking Dead shop, your T-shirts, memorabilia, all that stuff where it's sold is there. It is located in Sonoy. I mean, Sonoy is the home of the Walking Dead. Woodbury is where it's all at. And I was just, I mean, amazed when I seen. I mean, I wasn't expecting to be in the middle of Woodbury walking these streets, you know, just like they did in the, in the movie, and I mean in the film. So
His exact words to me, by the way, folks, was, "Can you believe that we're standing in Woodbury? This is really Woodbury."
I mean,
He was blown away by the fact that we were standing in a little town called Sonoy, and it really was filmed Woodbury. And that was quite a long series there that they did in Woodbury with the governor.
yeah. Oh yeah, and the little there's a little post office that's right there. It's part of the the Sonoy, the town, and we noticed a train car that was there on the track. Knew it looked familiar, but didn't really think much about it. I mean, it was just one car sitting there, and so as we got to talk to some of the people there, a woman at one of the little stores told us where we bought one of the maps. Told us that right there behind that post office, did you see the railroad car? And we was like, yeah, we seen it. And she said, does it look familiar? And we was like, well, it does, but so she said, well, that is the actual car. That is where they filmed Rick and all of them trapped inside the train. That was it. I mean, that's where it was shot at. So,
And by the way, they do have a little store there that sells maps
yeah.
of some of the locations that are right there in Sonoy. So it's a little general store that sits right next to the post office. You can't miss it. And they have little maps there that have all the places that you can go look at some of the filming locations.
But Google Maps is where it's at. Google Maps is what you want to use because it's on your phone. I mean, you can open it up and hit which location, the little sites it's got on there at it, and as you hit it, it will tell you the scene, what happened, and you just start off with whichever one you want to. You drive to. We done the closest to the farthest, and we done probably 35 to 40 locations within an hour.
Yeah, they're very close
I
to
mean-
each other. And there's quite a few right there in Sonoy. The Puddin' House.
Yeah.
The Puddin' House is right there behind Alexandria, on the street behind Alexandria.
You guys that are fans remember that. That's where Carl's sitting there with a big bucket of pudding and he's eating it.
On the roof.
Yeah. So,
And Michonne's looking for him.
so that's there. Yes, it's.
So, I mean, there are quite a few locations really close within Sonoy. Also, we want to mention, he did mention the Woodbury shop, which is the Walking Dead shop, okay? The Walking Dead shop offers the memorabilia, souvenir. You can say, oh my God, I went to Woodbury. I got this t-shirt at Woodbury, or I got this keychain, or whatever. And it's really awesome to go in there. You can actually spend about an hour or two just in the shop itself. Well, within the shop, don't leave, because go to the back of the store, go down the steps, and there's a museum there that's free. And you can go down and look. They have a replica of a jail. They had Daryl's bike, if they haven't taken it out. Now they change it up, so they may have changed it up. But
They have the chair that Andrea was strapped in when the governor had her, before she died. The actual chair, it's in there.
they have a replica of the jail. They have the do not open dead inside doors. They have a thing there from the governor. And then they have a lot of signatures on the wall from all the actors and actresses within the Walking Dead cast. So it's pretty cool. They've written things on the wall. Besides, not only have they written their signature or signed their signature, but they have messages for fans. They also have, in going back to the museum, they also have the Walking Dead Cafe, or coffee shop it's called, and it's down where the museum's at. They also have public restrooms down there. And then they have at the end of town, they have another little section. It's the Sonoy Tourism, and they have restrooms there for you to use, which is really, and they're very nice restrooms and they're very clean. So it's a really neat little town, and all the people are really friendly within the historical district there. So it's a pleasant trip, and you'll be pleasantly surprised because, like George said, they have like the little coffee shop at the end of town where the tracks are at. A lot of times when they're filming on set, which is Alexandria, which is right there in Sonoy, you know, the actors and actresses will come out for coffee or maybe a sandwich or, you know, something to drink, and you may run into them in that little cafe. Also, just recently, they opened up a restaurant, Nick and Norman, or Norman Reedus. They have a new restaurant downtown, so you might want to check that out. Okay, we told you earlier that the Culpeper House was one of our favorites, and we're going to tell you why right now it's our favorite. It's right across the entrance. It's down the street, and you can see the entrance of Alexandria, the big scene that they show every single time when they open the door and let all the people in. I think just recently they opened it and let Negan in. Okay, so tell them what we experienced while we were staying at the Culpeper House at Alexandria there.
Yes, we the first time that we stayed there, and Sam, which you'll get to know if you go there, told us that, hey, you go out there, you get some good shots. So we went out in the yard and was filming the lot where the actors and everything get dressed, and they take them out from there in vans and vehicles out to the filming locations that they go to. Well, while we was there, the gate opens up, there's lights and stuff down there, and Mary's like, hey, I think I seen Abraham there. And I was like, yeah, right. I mean, come on, we're right here, there's no way. I mean, and nobody was there, it was just, we was standing there at the end of this street. And so I'm like, well, give me the camera, let me see. So I get the camera where I can zoom in and see, and sure enough, it was Abraham. Not only was it Abraham, but they was filming an actual shot while we was there. So I started taking pictures like wild, like I'm on ESPN getting a football game, and I'm sitting here snapping in. About that time, this woman starts walking up to me and a cop, and I'm thinking, oh God. So I'm grabbing the camera, I'm trying to hand it off to Mary. Cause
he says, I'm going to jail, I'm going to jail.
I'd rather her go to jail than me, so I'm handing it off to her. I'm trying to walk away, and the lady comes up and says, guys, you guys are here on property, it's fine, you can take as many pictures as you want, but if you don't mind standing over here just a little bit, because they're getting you in the actual picture. You're in the filming, and it's kind of driving them crazy. And Murray has on this, it's close to Halloween, so she's got on this bright orange shirt, so you can see her like 3 blocks. And sure enough, we thought, So we went down there afterward though and stood and looked back, and you could see us. I mean, we was in it. We was in a shot of The Walking Dead.
We're sure they deleted that shot, but we were there. We can say we were there, and we have the pictures to prove it. And you know, we captured this before. This was the upcoming scenes, which was Glenn and Abraham, Sasha, Daryl, and we didn't post them.
Glenn was driving the van as they was leaving Alexandria at the start of the season. When after Glenn, they found out Glenn was alive. They all jump in the vehicles, and Daryl's on his back, and Glenn's in the van, and they head out. We got these pictures way before this. Actually, it was right after the season had ended, and I was mad. I didn't even want to go down.
Okay, let me clarify something here. Glenn was on the garbage, the dumpster. Y'all remember that? Glenn was on the dumpster. He'd fallen off, or was knocked off, actually.
And the zombies were eating him the way it made it look.
Yeah, and so everybody thought Glenn was dead. And so here we are at the Culpeper's house. We're looking down the street at inside the city of Alexandria, and we're seeing Glenn. So we know Glenn's not dead. We're seeing Abraham, Sasha, and Daryl. However, we wasn't sure that it wasn't a flashback, because you know sometimes they do the flashbacks in The Walking Dead. So we weren't sure, but we were pretty sure that he wasn't dead.
Let me tell you how I knew he wasn't dead, because she said this now. There may be a flashback. To be a flashback, you had to have seen it before. That yellow van was never in the show yet.
Well, anyway.
I knew he was alive. I was because I was mad at the show. I'd quit while I was done. But it revived me.
So we weren't sure, but we were pretty sure that Glenn was not dead. However.
And he wasn't dead.
Well, and he wasn't. And we
He
didn't.
is now. Thank you.
Yes. Yes. I'm sorry, Glenn. We loved you. Stephen Yeun. We loved him as an actor. We loved his character on the show. And we really hate that he's gone. And I'm sure there are a lot of other fans that share our opinion with Glenn being deceased.
I mean, if it wasn't for him, Rick would be dead. Come on. How do you kill somebody off like that, guys? Come on.
But anyway, we caught the pictures and we didn't share them. Number one, if you get pictures when you go down and there are upcoming scenes, you need to guard them pretty close, because it is our understanding that The Walking Dead kind of keeps track. They really monitor the internet really close. And people have been asked to take down posts. People have been asked to take down pictures that we have talked to. And, you know, The Walking Dead AMC or Raleigh Studios has been pretty nice about it. But we have been told a couple of times they had to get pretty ugly about it. And, you know, they're a big company and they can put a hurt on you if they want to. So, you know, try to abide by the rules, guys. Just try to abide by the rules. And, you know, George and I were tickled, and we had a few friends that we didn't share the pictures with, but we were like, we know Glenn isn't dead. But we didn't tell them how we knew. And then once the scenes had taken place, we did share our pictures. And, you know, this is the thing. I'm sure AMC was waiting and watching for those pictures. However, we, out of the respect for the show, because we really love the show, and we don't want to spoil it for anybody else, we kept the pictures to ourselves until now.
Well, when you go and do this, I mean, it's more for self satisfaction, gratification than it is to let's spoil this or show everybody what we know. I mean, because you know they're out there doing this, shooting this, and who wants to let everybody, you know, who wants to spoil it? Because all they'll do, they'll just change it. You know, they can just change it. So just have fun with it. And it's really fun. And like she keeps calling it a scavenger hunt, that's really what it is. But when you go to when we went down, I didn't, like I said, I didn't want to go. I didn't want to do this. I mean, she knows this. I did not want to go. But when I seen the first place, I wanted to see the second, then the third. So I'm pretty sure by the time we got to the fifth or sixth place, she wished I'd have never came, because I couldn't get enough. I was ready. Let's go. Come on, let's go. Let's do the next one.
No, I actually enjoyed it as much as he did. I mean, it may sound silly, but if you're a Walking Dead fan, it's just awesome to be able to stand sometimes just where the actors stood and relive the scene in your mind, and knowing, you know, we even talked about it a couple of times. Well, this was where Merle was at, and he died here. This is just too awesome. I don't know that dying is ever awesome, but when you're talking about The Walking Dead and you know there's no real deaths or crimes committed, it's pretty neat to be. It's just like going down Hollywood Boulevard and you're standing there where the star put their handprints and the big star, and you know they were there at one point. So it's basically the same thing, I think, with The Walking Dead. Who knew The Walking Dead was so close, and who knew you'd get to meet an actor or an actress?
Folks, we couldn't get all of it in the first show, so we're going to have a part 2 to this. So this is part 1. Tune in next week for part 2. You won't want to miss it. We'll show you all the goodies. Have fun! God bless you till next week.